Hey everyone, Chef Kendra. Today I'm making you one of my favorite fall items. It of course involves pumpkin because it is fall, and it is a sweet baked treat. So today we're making vegan and allergy-free pumpkin bread. So I have all of your ingredients right here. You probably have all of them in your pantry, maybe not the pumpkin, but everything else you might. So our dry ingredients are some oat flour. All I do is get certified gluten-free oats and I put them in either a food processor or a high-speed blender, turn that puppy on, and you've now got oat flour. Then we have some cassava flour, we have some pumpkin pie spice, or you could just use cinnamon if you want. We have baking powder and baking soda and a little bit of salt. And then our wet ingredients are going to be pumpkin, obviously, some brown sugar, we have some granulated sugar. The mixture of those two is nice because the brown sugar lends like a little caramely flavor and also some moisture. Then we have olive oil. You could also use butter if you are able to do dairy. You could use coconut oil if you can do coconut. So feel free to play around with that. We have vanilla, of course. And then if you're able to have eggs, include 2 eggs in this recipe. If you're not, you're going to make 2 flax eggs. All that is 2 tablespoons of flax meal, and then per tablespoon you add 3 tablespoons of water. So here I have 2 tablespoons of flax meal. We are gonna add 6 tablespoons of hot water. So I have a really awesome bread pan that has a cute pattern on top. I'm gonna show you how to brush that with some olive oil and then dust it with flour to make sure that your bread flips out super easily and it doesn't stick to that pan at all. So first I'm going to make the flax egg. What I need to do is get a little bit bigger bowl to mix the water into. I'm actually just gonna use the bowl we're putting all of our wet ingredients in. So I'm gonna mix that right in there. And then, like I said, to make a flax egg, it's 1 tablespoon of flax meal, or you could do chia meal, and then 3 tablespoons of warm water. All right, so you can see now it's super liquidy. Give this like 1 or 2 minutes and it becomes really gel-like. It's kind of crazy. It's food science, people. All right, so then into that we're gonna add all the rest of the wet ingredients. So I am going to add, oops, spilled that vanilla. I'm gonna add whatever's remaining in that bowl. And then the brown sugar, the granulated sugar, the olive oil, or whatever oil you choose to use, and then the pumpkin. And we are just gonna stir that up. All right. You just wanna make sure that it's all mixed together and pretty uniform. And then before I add the dry ingredients, because there's baking soda and baking powder in there, once you add it to the wet ingredients, it starts to kind of, not rise because it's not baking, but the baking soda and the baking powder start to be effective right away. So you wanna wait until you're totally ready to pour it into the pan. So before I mix these together, I'm gonna show you how to prepare your pan to make sure that it comes out nice and easily. All right, so I have this pan I love. I think it's so pretty. So this is what the pattern's gonna be. It's kind of this like starburst. So some people, if they're able to use the sprays and have the lecithins that are in there, there's like baking sprays, but know that they have propellants in them that will stick to your pan. So they get kind of gunky and gooey. So while it's convenient, they don't really help your pan last a long time. Instead, what I like to do is melt whatever fat you're using, again, coconut oil, olive oil, butter, whatever you can have, and a little brush, and just brush all, because there's so many crevices in here, you need to brush all those little parts, all those little nooks and crannies. That way, the flour that you put in is gonna stick into those little sections, and then it's gonna help it release nice and easily. Now this is already a nonstick lined pan, but you still need to add the oil and the flour. All right, so there's that. And then you just sprinkle your flour in. Kind of move it around, use your finger to tap it. And then what I like to do at the very, very end is put it over the sink and tap it into the sink. That way it gets rid of everything that you don't want in there and all the extra flour that might be stuck in there. Perfect, nicely coated. I have my wet ingredients, I have my dry ingredients, and we're just gonna mix them together. I mean, this recipe is so easy, you guys. It's literally, you could probably do it in one bowl if you really wanted to. All right, there we go, and it will make your house smell so good. And if you want to be a little more decadent, you could add chocolate chips to it. You could make some sort of like chocolate glaze to put on the top. You could do just like a little powdered sugar glaze, or even just a little sprinkled powdered sugar. It's such a fall smell anytime you use pumpkin. I love it. Now, with gluten-free baking, you do typically mix it a little bit more. Because there's no gluten, you kind of need to build up the structure by stirring it a little bit more. So typically in regular traditional baking, you would mix it just until it's combined and then put it in here, but you notice I'm doing a little more stirring, and there is a purpose behind that. So we're just going to add this into our pan. You could also make this in little muffin tins also if you wanted to make little miniature breads. That way would be super cute. Okay, we're just gonna spread it in. And you're gonna put this in a 350-degree oven. It's gonna bake for about 50 to 60 minutes. Most quick breads, that's the usual time and temperature. I usually check on it about halfway through, turn it around, maybe move it onto a different rack in your oven if your oven doesn't bake terribly evenly. Also, if you have convection, be sure to put the convection on. It will help your baked goods really bake nice and evenly. And you might want to check it a few minutes early because the convection also helps it cook faster. So I'm gonna pop this in the oven, and then I'm gonna come back to you guys when it's cool, all ready to unmold, and you're gonna see how delicious and beautiful this bread is. All right, our pumpkin bread has come out of the oven, and I like to let it sit in its little vessel for maybe half an hour, 45 minutes. That way you're able to actually flip it over using your fingers, and it kind of shrinks in a little bit, so it makes it a lot easier to get it out. To the point where you can even like put your hand on it and flip it over. Super, super simple. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that is what will happen this time. Yes! And it's so pretty. This is actually, to be honest, you guys, this is the first time I've used this baking pan, and I'm very excited about it. It's really, really cute. So I am going to sprinkle a little bit of powdered sugar on this before I serve it to my friends, because I think that it's gonna make it look extra fabulous. So for this recipe and others that are equally as delicious, make sure you subscribe to this channel so you can see whenever we post something fun, allergy adaptable, and new. Also head over to my Instagram, which is Drizzle Kitchen, and you can see what I do on a daily basis, whether it's for myself to eat or when I'm cooking for clients. You can get inspired, get back in the kitchen, and make some good memories with your friends and family. So see you guys next time.